There are bonds that don't need long explanations or grand words to feel real. Taehyung and Jungkook have that kind of connection that's evident in the details, in simple gestures, and in the way they support each other even when they're not in front of the same camera. Their relationship feels natural, constant, and full of meaning, as if they both speak the same language without needing to say it out loud. Yesterday, Taehyung appeared wearing chrome heart sunglasses. Just a few weeks ago, we saw him wearing a sweater from the same brand, and for those who follow their story closely, these choices speak volumes. Taehyung proudly wears gifts from someone important in his life, and that someone is Jungkook. It's not just about clothes or accessories, but about their emotional value. They are objects that carry memories, shared moments, and a clear intention to care for and think of each other. When Taehyung wears something Jungkook gave him, he doesn't do it to attract attention, but because it feels good to wear something that comes from love. It's a quiet and sincere way of saying I'm not alone, even when he's walking alone. And that's something that keeps happening over time. Every little detail adds up, every gesture reaffirms what they share. It's easy to imagine that as the years go by, we'll see many more gifts, many more signs of that affection that isn't hidden. Taekook shows his love no matter the place or situation. They can be surrounded by people or separated by different schedules, but they're always present in each other's minds and hearts. That connection makes them both feel cared for, valued, and special. They don't need to be together all the time to understand that their priority is mutual. They choose each other again and again, even in the everyday moments. Taehyung also shared a story that revealed his more sensitive side. He recounted something small, but full of emotion, one of those moments that touches him deeply. That's just how he is. He appreciates simple gestures, sincere kindness, and details that come from the heart. When he showed those 2 chocolates, the message was clear. They were meant to be shared, for Jungkook and for him. Because that's how they operate, they think of each other even in the simplest things. It's in these actions that Taekook reveals their true selves. Taehyung using Jungkook's gifts, Jungkook caring for Taehyung in ways that aren't always visible, but are certainly felt. They don't need to be in front of a camera all the time to show what they have. Their relationship is private, but it's not hidden. It emerges when there's something truly special to share, when the moment warrants it. What unites Taehyung and Jungkook is a quiet and steadfast love. It doesn't seek approval or need to explain itself. It's there in the details, in the memories, in the way they support each other even in silence. Every gesture they share is a reminder that their bond is deep and sincere, and that what they build together is sustained by respect, affection, and a connection that feels real and close. Taehyung's live stream yesterday lasted barely 3 minutes, but it was enough to leave a deep and comforting feeling. No more time was needed, because in those few minutes he showed himself as he truly is, someone sensitive, attentive, and with a huge heart. He appeared to share how touched he was by a simple yet heartfelt gesture, a taxi driver who, without really knowing him, gave him chocolate and spoke to him kindly. Taehyung didn't speak from exaggerated emotion, but from genuine gratitude, from that special place of his where small details become important. He mentioned that there were 2 chocolates. That detail didn't go unnoticed by those who know the story behind it. 2 chocolates aren't just a number, they're a clear image of how Taehyung usually thinks about sharing, about saving something special for someone else. In that everyday gesture, Jungkook's presence is felt, not because he's mentioned directly, but because he's a natural part of his world. Taehyung lives like this, with an open heart, and Jungkook has always been part of that intimate space where feelings are cherished. Taehyung and Jungkook have a connection that's evident even when they're not together on camera. They share a similar sensitivity, a pure and honest way of feeling. They look at each other with admiration, recognize themselves in the simple things, and find inspiration in one another. Thinking about them brings a sense of calm, as if their way of relating reminds us that genuine affection still exists. If there were more bonds like this, where respect and tenderness go hand in hand, everything would feel a little more human. This moment also brings to mind something very special, when Jungkook spoke about how much he admires Taehyung's innocence. He didn't say it superficially, he said it with pride, with a smile that made it clear how much he values that pure way of seeing the world. Taehyung, for his part, responded by talking about the mole under Jungkook's lip, saying that it inspires him. There you can see how attentively they observe each other, how they notice details that others might overlook. The way they treat each other has always been gentle, almost shy, like a quiet flirtation that doesn't need grand gestures. Even after so many years, they still blush, they're still surprised by each other's words. That speaks of a living bond, one that doesn't fade with time. For Taehyung and Jungkook, the other remains someone special, someone who excites and disarms them. Jungkook, clearly in love, called Taehyung innocent again as he watched him play with a doll and laugh with such genuine joy. His voice sounded sweet, and the gesture was even clearer when he carefully ran his fingers through Taehyung's hair, as if he wanted to protect that moment. It was an intimate scene, one of those that makes you feel like you're witnessing something very personal, something that usually remains only between two people who love each other. Jungkook's gaze said it all without words, and Taehyung, blushing furiously, couldn't hide how much that comment affected him. That honest reaction is part of what makes them so close to the hearts of those who observe them. No matter how much time passes, they continue to speak to each other with the excitement of those who discover each other anew each day. They praise each other, care for each other, and make each other feel important in a very natural way. One of the most beautiful memories of their story is when Jungkook wrote in Taehyung's diary, leaving him a declaration that would be forever etched in his memory. When you say you love me and accept my love with confidence, I say I can't ask for anything more. Those words need no explanation. When Taehyung read them, he could barely hold back his tears. The emotion was palpable because they came from the person he loves, from someone who chooses him with certainty. Taekook represents a kind of quiet yet profound love, where admiration, tenderness, and respect go hand in hand. Their story is told in glances, in gentle words, in small acts that speak volumes. That's why they continue to be an inspiration, not only as a couple, but as an example of a bond built on genuine affection. Watching them together is not only entertaining, but it also conveys a clear sense of closeness that feels genuine. When Taehyung and Jungkook share a space, something shifts in the atmosphere. There's a special calm, an energy that doesn't need grand pronouncements or flashy gestures to be felt. The body speaks before the voice, and in their case, that becomes evident from the very first moment. Body language has always been a sincere way to understand real connections. In Taehyung and Jungkook's case, it's enough to observe how they move when they're near each other, glances that meet easily, smiles that appear unexpectedly, hands that reach for each other almost out of habit. There's no rush or tension, just a trust that shines through in every small gesture. Touching each other for no apparent reason, laughing together, keeping the same rhythm while dancing, all of this reflects a connection that has formed over time and remains strong today. What unites them is a serene, stable love that doesn't need noisy displays. It doesn't seek external validation or lengthy explanations. It's present in the simple details, in how they comfort each other when one is tired, in the way they care for each other with small gestures, in the tranquility of being able to share silence without discomfort. This kind of bond isn't built overnight, it's born from living together, from mutual respect, and from a deep understanding between two people who know each other well. Many people have noticed something for years that, although it seems simple, is impossible to overlook: the way Jungkook and Taehyung look at each other, search for each other in crowds, and recognize each other even from a distance. Wherever they are, in front of cameras or surrounded by other people, their way of interacting remains the same. There's consistency between what they feel and what they show, and that generates a sense of honesty that connects with those who observe them. Their relationship feels natural because it flows seamlessly. There are no abrupt changes in their attitude or inappropriate gestures. They are themselves, comfortable, present, sharing moments like any couple who understand each other effortlessly. That consistency is part of what makes their bond so special. It doesn't depend on context or environment, it's sustained by what they feel for each other. Every sign they share reinforces the idea that their connection is deep and sincere. It's not just about affection, but about companionship. They walk together, grow together, and support each other in important moments. There's respect in the way they treat each other, care in how they express themselves, and a closeness that conveys security. All of this builds a solid relationship, based on true affection and a complicity that feels real. That's why Taehyung and Jungkook continue to be an inspiration. Not only for what they represent as a couple, but for showing that a healthy bond can be peaceful, stable, and full of meaning. Their story invites us to believe in relationships where affection is demonstrated through actions, where the connection is built day by day, and where love is expressed with presence, respect, and a closeness that springs from the most genuine place.